Hi everyone. How's your day? I hope your day went well. Hi, welcome to my live. My name is Ore. I'm the founder of ChangeCatalystCo. Just waiting for 9:30 elite beds join. If you're watching this from wherever or at whatever point, um, I just to let you know that I very okay with everybody not being here right now. I'm okay with that because I sincerely believe that some of the people that this is meant for are going to find this and just wanted to produce this and to put this right here because I believe that some way, somewhere, sometime in the nearest or farthest future, people that this is meant for will find this and it will be useful for them. Um, so I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to digging in and getting into this. Just bear with me. I don't really have a lot of experience with going live. This is something I'm trying out. And I'm hoping that in a few days and a few weeks from now, when I come back to check this out, I'm going to be seeing this and laughing at myself because I would have grown much more. I'll have much more of a community. I am looking forward to meeting people that this would bless, that this would help. Um, um, so I had a quiet day. Um, yeah, that's why I can be here this early before the live and feeling relaxed enough to just come chat with you guys before we dig into what we're really here for. We're going to be talking about the 5 cultural mistakes that kill change efforts across for people, for individuals, for organizations, for policymakers. So when it's 9:30 EST, we're going to get right into it. Um, guys, I'm looking forward to getting your comments. Please don't forget to share this when you see it, send it out to people, like, comment. The engagement means a lot to me as uh, as we are really just starting this. I'm looking forward to digging into this because this is something I'm very passionate about. Um, whenever you do get this, just email me and we can chat about it. It'll be interesting to see. You know what they say about when you see people, when you get people, when you do something, you produce something, and if it sometime down the line you come back to check it and it looks like, did I say that? That's so not my standard right now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Welcome to my life. My name is Ore again. I'm the founder of Change Catalyst Co. And I'm looking forward to telling you today about the top 5 cultural mistakes that companies or people, organizations make when they are implementing change across an organization. Now we go right into it. Hello, everyone. Bonjour, wherever you're watching this from. I'm happy you're here. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm hoping that this will be the beginning of a profitable relationship, a symbiotic one where I engage you and you engage me and we learn together. And I'm hoping that everything I deliver here is on point. If you have objections, I'm willing and happy to, let's rub minds, let's talk about it. That's why I'm here, to help you and help me to get better to serve you. But most importantly, I'm hoping that this would help somebody settle down and be You know that feeling of deja vu for someone to help them get to that point where they're so comfortable with, they're now comfortable with trying new things because they have a light to go ahead. Like I said, hi everyone. My name is Ore Afe. I'm the founder of ChangeCatalystCo, where we decode culture to power transformation. Today, I'm going to be deep diving into the top 5 cultural mistakes companies make when they roll out change, whether it's digital transformation, whether it's restructuring, or even DI initiatives. Let's be real. Let's be real, okay? Most change efforts that fail did not fail as a result of the incompetence or the technology that, or that because the technology wasn't working, or that strategy was not effective or properly planned out. Mostly it fails because the culture eats the strategy alive. It eats it for breakfast. Now, what I'm going to be deep diving into that further down the road in this live. But here's what's really happening under the surface. There are 5 main mistakes that people make, that people ignore. The one main thing is that people forget to think about culture. So if you see me switching, I'm on Instagram live on one of my devices and I'm on YouTube live on the other one. So I'll be, switching back and forth between both devices to look at you, and so you know that I'm paying attention to you. I'm not ignoring it, I promise. So the 5 main things, I'm going to list them before I go ahead. One of the first one is that they mistake culture for vibes. You think that culture is all about things like, oh, let's dress this way, or oh, let's keep our doors open, or let's wear jeans on Fridays, or let's say high five when we sit in the hallway, or let's let's have a special dance, or let's say happy birthday, or send people birthday messages. Secondly, people ignore informal networks. In every gathering, there's an informal network. Yes, you're the leader and you have a structure. You can identify networks. You've come from the network of committee of this, committee of that. You have a structure, you have a formal structure, but there are informal networks that are, I promise you, responsible for the way your organization works informally, informs the culture, drives the narrative that you don't even understand exists, and is low key controlling what's going on in that atmosphere. Third, they are centering strategy. You are centering strategy, not story. You're strengthening strategy, not story. You're not creating a narrative. If you don't have a narrative, somebody else will create a narrative for you. Facts. You're working on ensuring that all the strategies are in place. You're having all these brainstorming sessions, you're having walkthrough sessions with the people the change is going to impact. Your stakeholders, you've identified them, you're talking to them about these are the 5 main ways, this is an implementation strategy, this is transitioning strategy. You're just fine-tuning everything. You're not creating a narrative. You need a narrative to drive the narrative. You need to drive the narrative before somebody else orchestrates the narrative for you. 4, you're pathologizing resistance. You're making it look like everybody that obstructs or has a contrary idea to you is, supposed to be pacified, or supposed to be shushed, or supposed to be ignored, or supposed to be put down like that. And then lastly, you're forgetting the lived experience of these people. You're ignoring their experiences. You are not looking at the people that these people really impact. How does this impact their everyday? How does it affect the change the way in which that they deliver the work that they do for you? How does this make an impact? Not necessarily in the bottom line of the organization. Yeah, this change might bring you more money or more customers or make you more visible. But how does this change the way that these people deliver their work to you? You have to think about these kinds of things. Now, let's get right into it. Starting with what we just mentioned, forgetting their lived experience. Cultural change that ignores lived realities becomes extraction, not transformation. You're looking for a way to transform the lives of your people. You're looking for how you're going to make sure that these people are well taken care of. You're looking for things that will sustain that change, even if these set present people change and move away from the organization. You're looking for something that will become the culture. You're not looking for something that's a temporary fix or something that people will do simply because you've made them do it, or they need a paycheck, or something that will make people start to look for other jobs. Because I promise you, if you implement a change that makes them feel threatened or makes them feel like their decisions or their ideas or their resistance doesn't count, or that changes too much how they deliver, how they do their day-to-day work, they're going to start looking for that jobs. They're going to start interviewing, they're going to go and leave. You know that thing they call silent quitting? That's what's going to happen in your organization. And you don't want that. You want the change to be a transformation. You want it to be something that transforms them from inside out, because you're working with them. You're working together through the challenges that you're facing, meaning that you need to consult them. You're going to be interview. You have to interview. You have to actively, intentionally engage the right people that are vast in this field, like moi, to help you conduct the kinds of leverage tools, the right tools to to go through this process, to help people to understand and see the end picture here, to understand the goal end to end. You want to be able to get them to tell their story. You want them to be able to tell their story so that you can now sit down. The experts can do the auditing of the story, and then you can now sit down and then use the stories to channel their energy, their drive, their focus, their passion, their why into transforming this change. Letting their story influence the way that you carry out this change. It's not just about manipulating them and helping them to see things in the way that you want them to see it. It's also about ensuring that their stories, the things that are important to them, are taken into consideration very authentically, that they can actively have an input into the way that this change is being implemented. You want to be able to carry out cultural rituals to understand what people actually experience, what their day-to-day is like. How do they go about their daily activities? How is this going to change going to happen? How is their lived experience right now? You want someone that would help them translate the strategic intent into their lived experience, or vice versa. You want everything to merge into one. You don't want it to look like, oh, their lived experience is different from the strategic intent. So now, because they're looking for a paycheck, they need your paycheck. They have to, of course, now work with what your strategic intent is. It's not all about you. Now, moving on, we mentioned pathologizing resistance. Don't want to make resistance look like something that is, it's supposed to be managed. It's supposed to be shushed. It's supposed to be shut down. You want to draw from ethical. You want to draw from ethical laws. You want to look at things from an ethical perspective. You want to look at things from intersectional perspective. These people coming to work for you, they are not just they're not just your staff. They're not just the experts. They're not just the technology people. They're not just engineers. They're not just admin people. They're not just operations people. These people are not just artists. They are not just musicians. They are not just drum artists. They are not just producers of music. They are not just whatever it is they do at work. Some of them are that. They are mothers. They are women. Some of them have experiences coming from previous places where their opinions were trampled on. They're suffering from trauma. I'm not saying become their psychologist. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you need to take into consideration some of the ideals of what is ethically responsible, what is ethically applicable in this situation. You want to be able to look at the intersectionalism of who these people are, going back to what we identified as lived experience. It's you want to ensure that you you let them know that resistance is good. Resistance is good. Your slogan in your mind should be resistance is wisdom. Every time you experience resistance, just tell yourself resistance is wisdom. You don't have to get 100% cooperation. If you're getting that, trust me, that's not sustainable because they're not telling the truth. Because this is going to impact somebody. And if they're not speaking up about it, it means that either your organizational structure or your organizational culture is very, very toxic, or they're just giving you what you want, and their one foot is out the door. You want to make sure that what's your strategy in this case? You want to make sure that you honor resistance as data. Why? But from an oppositional point of view, you want to know why. You want to collect this information of why they are resisting, use it as data to engage it with humility and curiosity. Be curious about why is it that this person doesn't want this change. What is it about this change they don't like? Leverage it. Extract as much as you can information from them, because it's wisdom you're gaining. Don't take it as an opportunity to shut them down or think that maybe this person has always not wanted, as always a stubborn person. Some of those people that speak up are the people you really want in your organization. Now, moving on, we talked about centering strategy, not story, as one of the problems that one of the main root causes of why change is not sustainable, why it doesn't work for people at home, in your organization, in your team. You're trying to change the culture, you're trying to implement a new system. You want to make sure that these people's story, the story of the organization, why are they working there? Outside of money, what is it about that place that keeps them there? People that have worked there for 10 years, 30 years, you want to take their opinions into consideration. Why are they there? You want to make that the reason for the change. You want to make that the story behind the change, not your strategy. Your strategy is important. You can do your brainstorming sessions. It won't go to waste, I promise. But there's a way to marry it and make the story the center of the action, not your strategy. If you make it about your strategy, it's going to be more like a subservient yes sir situation. You want to rather than announcing change through emails and slide decks and dry, abstract, and disconnected communication, you want to make them respond to narrative. Say the why and let it be from a humanistic point of view, not bullet points, but make them feel it. Let it be a story. Say the why, make it a center, make it a cultural thing, make it a drive, make it a common passion. And it speaks to other things that we have already talked about and which we are going to be talking about further down. How do you do this? You collect and harvest stories, find stories that shape how you're interpreting this policy. You want to tap into your past, your history as an organization. Who was the founder? Why did it start? Why did this organization start? What was the passion? If you've lost it, tell them, be open, tell them that this has been lost. This is why you're not moving. And where do you want to go to? Make it a we situation. And then how does an expert go about this? What would your expert do for you? What will your consultants? Use story circles. Let people form story circles based on the most common intersectionalities, the most common stories that you find. Create listening labs. I would even do origin stories to anchor transformation. Just you want your why to be hinged on their why, on their purpose. You want it to, you're not deceiving them, you're not manipulating them, but there's always a reason why people have stayed in your organization. There's always a story behind it. They have a child, they have children, they just moved into this new city, or they lost their job and this is the first job they've gotten for a long time. You want to tell them the why that you're changing this and marry it to their own why, so that it becomes all our story, not just your story, not just your strategy. Remember, we also talked about leaders ignoring informal networks. Companies are always planning change through organizational charts and overlooking the real influencers, the informal leaders, those people that when during town hall meetings, if they say, if they people are looking at their facial expression, everybody's quiet until they raise an objection. Or in a group chat, the minute they like is a comment, everybody starts to like that comment. Or when they go on vacation, they are sharing pictures of their vacation and everybody's responding, everybody's reacting. Or they say something about them and everybody can relate. People are asking them personal stories about themselves. Those are your informal leaders. They might not be, they might be your security, they might be your cleaning staff. It could be anybody, but you need to look out for those people. You need to be observant. You need to have people who help you identify those people. You need to be able to understand those people, and you need to humbly leverage those people. You want to be able to, you want to be able to use those people, leverage those people to shape opinion, shape morale, you know, there might not be people that doing if you're looking at the organizational structure, people will refer to, but there are the people that people will talk to. There are people that people will say, oh, this is why I don't want this. There are people that people will tell their truths to. There are the people that people visit outside work. There are people that go on lunch dates outside of work. There are people that go to the cinema to watch movies with people. You don't want to ignore those people. They are not showing up in your organizational chart. They are not your top paid staff. They are not the ones that structurally you would put so much on their shoulder, but they are the ones that people talk to. They are the ones that can go underground, low key, and talk to people. You want to include these culture holders early on in the process so that they begin to let people know, infiltrate those silent networks so that they are able to start acting as your ambassador and the advisors of those people on the organization. If the story is coming from those people, it's trusted more than you, even the leader, the one that pays salaries, and the one that determines who gets promoted. And then lastly, people are always mistaken leaders, implementers, change managers. Even we as human beings, we're always thinking that change or culture is about, yeah, we're in our house, we don't do this. Or in our house, we are always kissing before when we come back or when we come or when we meet each other. That's not culture. That's not culture. That's not culture. Culture is really the emotional and political DNA. I mentioned this 2 days ago. The cultural and the emotional and political DNA of how power flows, how people relate, how decisions are really made in your organization. If people feel that your decisions are made in spite of people's opinions and feelings, that's your culture. That's your culture. That's their opinion. That's your culture. If people feel that your organization, everybody, people promote people based on who greets the boss best or who is more of an ass kisser, excuse my French, that's your culture. What the people feel is the culture. It's not what you think. It's not what's in your memorandum of understanding. It's not what's in your SOPs. It's not what's in your standard of documents. The culture really is how people feel. It's the political DNA. When you touch the pulse of the organization, when you touch the pulse of this movement, when you touch the pulse of this workshop, when you touch the pulse of this place, of this whatever structure it is that you're trying to implement the change across, that's the culture of that place. Now, think of culture as an archive of memory and behavior shaped by things like race, class, gender, and even hierarchy. How do people perceive older people? How do people imagine what class is? How do people think that race influences people? Can you shut the door, please? How do people imagine that race? How do people imagine, what do people imagine race to be? That's your culture. How do people imagine that race comes into play in your organization? That's what culture is. You don't want to be you're you're colorblind, you're race blind, but how do the colored people in your organization feel? Do they feel that way? How do people feel about sensitive topics? Are they comfortable bringing up those topics? Do they feel like they can actually have that conversation with you? Is that something that they feel like they can bring up? Before launching change, you want to really map the real values that are driving daily decisions, such as how early people come to work, how people respond to emergencies, how much people volunteer, how people prioritize things that have to do with their work in relation to things that they would rather do. You want to map the real culture, the real heart behind the way that people work. That's what culture really is. It's not how you the kind of jeans you people wear to work. It's really how much people is really how people see what your organization means to them. How do people perceive that if they have to go on a long-term leave, if say they can't deliver because they're ill or they have a family emergency, do they suddenly become useless to you as an organization? Those kinds of things, those are the things you want to make sure that you understand how people perceive that in your organization. It's not just how you feel, it has nothing to do with how you feel, it has nothing to do with existing laws and policy. It matters much more how people feel. So, with that being said, I just want to, I just want to, go back a little bit to a lot of the things that we have said. And then I want to talk about how, you know, most of these things, how most of these things are very key in how successful and sustainable your change will be, your change implementation will be. You don't want to be the kind of organization or the kind of family or the kind of implementation lead that you have to keep persuading people every few days or every few weeks, giving a motivational speech to do something. Culture is change is very much determined. Culture is very much a determinant of how effective change will be. If people feel that they would have obstruction, they would have a lot of issues when they bring up opposition. They're not going to bring it up. Your change is going to die in the middle of the work. So some of these things are really what some of these tools and some of these frameworks are really some of the things that are really important as you try to implement culture. Now, like I said, my name is Orolua Afe, and I'm the founder of ChangeCatalystCo. By day, I work as a change implementation specialist, as a business analyst. I have over 10 years experience, much more actually, over 10 years experience implementing change across organizations in public health, in finance industry, in educational industry, in tourism industry. And I'm very, very passionate about change. I'm looking forward to engaging you. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you about what you think about what we have just shared here today. I'm hoping that I can get more of your engagements. Please, um, if this has, if you enjoyed this in any way, please like this page, follow us. Just click on the subscribe button and let us work together. Let us build a culture of change wherever it is that we feel like we need to implement. Let's learn together. Let's grow together. I'll be looking forward to your engagement and I'll be looking forward to your posts. If you're looking for someone, we are going to be in the last week of June. We're going to have a free 3-day webinar to and more information will be coming up on our Instagram post, on our Instagram and on our LinkedIn page to talk to provide more details about what the training free webinar is going to be about. We're also going to be writing more articles on LinkedIn, which we would also share on other platforms as well. We're working on quite a few things in the back, offline. There's going to be we're going to be um, um, we're also going to be we're developing a workshop and also our website, which will be linking to our page very soon. Our website is under construction, and I'm looking forward to working with every single one of you. If you need contacts, just DM me on Instagram. I'll link our Instagram page in the comment section. Feel free to reach out anytime, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good time. Um, Thank you, my YouTube people. It was good to have this time with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye.